We've flown halfway across the globe to bring you exclusive coverage of the world's top featherweight boxer in this international fight night. This is Melbourne, Australia's second largest city. It's the capital of the Garden State of Victoria, a bustling city with a population of nearly 3 million. It claims to be Australia's centre for food, fashion and culture, but it's better known as the nation's sporting capital. Some of the events staged here are the Melbourne Cup horse race, and in the famous MCG stadium you'll find the Australian rules football final, as well of course as the cricket test matches. While a few yards away alongside the River Yarra, Australian Open tennis will be held in this brand new £40 million National Tennis Centre. It's already seen the likes of Boris Becker and Steffi Graf. And it's the National Tennis Centre that provides the latest and most impressive venue for a world title defence by Australia's WBC Featherweight champion, Jeff Fenech. Now, Fenech is a triple world champion and he says that he wants to fight Barry McGuigan. Meanwhile, Fenech puts his impressive and explosive 21-fight unbeaten record right on the line with a challenge from the #1 contender, the highly rated New Yorker, George Navarro. Later on, we'll be seeing the Mexican Daniel Zaragoza defending his WBC Super Bantamweight title against the Italian Valerio Nati, a title that Fenech relinquished earlier this year. And we'll also be giving the result of our competition to win 10 copies of the super fight video, Hagler versus Leonard. Well, that's later. Now let's get into Fenech against Navarro. 24-year-old Jeff Fenech has stopped 18 opponents in his 21 straight wins. He won his first world title, the IBF Bantamweight Championship, in only his 7th professional fight. He has since won the WBC Super Bantamweight title, and in March he added the WBC Featherweight title. Fenech from New South Wales is exciting the Americans so much that they want him to fight in Las Vegas. This is how CBS Sports introduced him to their viewers.
Boxing takes place in the confines of a ring, man versus man, but to Jeff Fenech, it's a science. He began studying early on, not the sweet science, but the street science.
Yeah, I suppose, people talk about Jeff Fenech and they say, that I come up on the wrong side of the law and the wrong side of the traps, but, I'm quite proud of what I've done. I had a sick father all my life, so I never had all that money coming here and there unless I went out somewhere and grabbed it the best way I could.
One day, tired of the street life, Fenech wandered over to this gym, hoping to turn street fighting into a profession. Here he met his mentor, Johnny Lewis.
In boxing, it is a disciplined sport, and I think that all Jeff was looking for was someone that was going to teach him discipline.
The two of them transformed Fenech from a street fighter to a boxer. He exploded from the streets into an instant headline. And before he knew it, he was the captain of Australia's boxing team at the 1984 Olympic Games. When it was over, Jeff Fenech lost. But Fenech is not a loser, and with hard work he invested in himself as a champion. He quickly turned pro and began a string of victories that has never ended. Fight after fight, the Fenech name became more legendary. This is the champion's hero, a retarded man named Khan, who Fenech embraced as a youngster and has offered compassion when there was none, love when it was needed.
As I grew up and learned a little bit about life and learned what Johnny Lewis showed me, which was love and respect, I seen that one thing that Con was missing was that, and I thought here was a chance for me to to give some love and respect to somebody who really needs it.
In life, you pick your moments, and for Fenech, all the moments are public now, and the public can read every one of them. But you know what? He thrives on that. The good, the bad, and the ugly have turned the punk into a man.
Jeff Fenech, who is a formidable world champion. Now he faces the #1 contender. George Navarro is 23, and he's won 17 of his 19 contests, 5 inside the distance. He's a Puerto Rican who fights out of New York. He has a reputation as a fast counterpuncher, and his speed will be vital for him against Fenech. The champion was the first to weigh in at 9 o'clock in the morning. He was half a pound inside the 9-stone limit, looking confident, relaxed, and in terrific shape. A sharp contrast to Navaro, who arrived 10 minutes late and faced a real pre-fight drama.
Fight and lose that weight.
Yo, who gave us that scale?
Wait a minute, Georgie, I got the scale here.
And he can weigh.
We were given a scale, we were told that scale was accurate. Now here's the scale, and on this scale he makes weight. I think that's an unforgivable error. Let's go.
It had been reported that 3 days earlier he was 8 pounds over the limit. He was still 2 1/4 pounds over at the weigh-in. After all the excuses, he was given 2 hours to get it off. So, 2 hours later, Navarro stepped out of a steam bath and back onto the scales. He just made it by the skin of his teeth.
How did you manage to come in so much overweight before?
Well, like I said earlier, you know, if you heard what my comments, in the hotel, the floor the balance is different in here, so it was just a regular bloody mistake, but, you know, we can't cry about it. We got to overcome it.
Jeff, what's your reaction to the challenge of being over 2 pounds overweight at the weigh-in?
Well, I don't think it's real professional, but I'm not real concerned. I've made the weight, and that's all I have to worry about, so I didn't care what he does. I bet they've had a lot to say, but they're not real professional. They might be professional with their mouths, but they're not in their actions, and, you know, I'll prove that tonight.
How important is it for you to establish yourself as a real international star?
Well, I'd like to be established, but at the moment, you know, if you're fighting and somebody offers you $1 million and somebody offers you 10,000, I suppose you take the million. And especially if you can fight at home and everything else. And I've had all those kind of advantages, and I know it's pretty cosy fighting at home. But when the chance comes and the money's right and they want me to fight overseas, I'll show everybody that Jeff Fenech can fight Australia, England, America, Alaska if they want me to, and still be the world champion.
How important is it for you, Jeff, to meet Barry McGuigan?
Well, at this point in my career, I'd really love to fight Barry. 2 years ago, he was my idol. He still is. I think he's a great fighter. I've got great respect for him. I've got great respect for the way he fights and the way he handles himself outside the ring, which is more important. But yeah, Jeff Fenech's ready to fight Barry McGuigan, and hopefully I'll be able to do that soon, move up and fight for my 4th world title.
Jeff, this is our first international fight night. We usually cover just the British scene. What can you promise the fight night viewers as they settle down to watch you now?
Well, I've been described as maybe a mini Mike Tyson, an old style of Jack Dempsey, but I can just guarantee one thing: I don't like to be compared with such great fighters. One day maybe they'll be able to do that when I'm finished, but I can just promise plenty of excitement, someone that's going to walk up and give plenty of action, and you won't be able to leave your seats.
There's a record crowd here, a capacity 15,000 people to roar on the national sporting hero. Jeff Fenech is the 4-1 on favourite, a real hot favourite, and many people think that this fight won't even last the 12 rounds. But Navarro has never been stopped. Not yet, that is. As Fenech gets into the ring, let's join our commentary team of Jim Watt and Reg Gutteridge.
Well, he's certainly a hero, this fellow. They haven't had a fighter like this for some years, since perhaps right back to Dave Sands' time, Aborigine and Lionel Rose. Maltese parents, and his dad sadly passed away earlier this year. And here's Navarro then, who's certainly made a mess of that weigh-in today.
You both received your instructions earlier in the day. You know the instructions. We don't have to go through them again. Listen to my every command. When I say stop, you stop. When I say box, you box. And when I say break, you break. Good luck to both of you. Gentlemen, good luck.
So I don't think there's going to be too much gentleman going on after the first bell. Referee Arthur McCanty from New York. And Jim, I won't remind you of that. He handled your last fight with Alex Aguela.
Yeah, he handled a couple of my fights. Very good referee, but I didn't pay much attention to him. Maybe I'll pay more attention tonight.
Yes, you had your mind on other things against Aguero. So, as Gary says, we doubt whether this would go 12 rounds. This fellow's a little machine there in the white trunks, Fenech. And really, I'm sort of angered why Navarro has made this mess of coming in with the weights. We have a lot of pontificating by the WBC medical panel about checking on fighters' weights before a championship fight. And there they are, letting him come in at 2 pounds overweight. But he says that the scales and all that kind of thing. But Jim, it's very bad in a championship fight, isn't it, to do this?
Yeah, it's very unprofessional.
In the back of the head, right?
I think what they were saying, I think they've weighed in back at the hotel, maybe on a soft carpet floor, which can slightly alter the weight. I don't think it would alter it to 2 1/4 pounds, but very unprofessional.
Break, let's go.
He can box a bit and fight a lot, you'll find, Fenech, and it's getting a little bit of a going over. McCanty doesn't stand for no nonsense. He's not what's known as a house referee. He likes travelling the world. He's a very fit man. He's, well, getting near his 100th, no, not birthday, 100th championship fight. Ali Frazier, and as I say, Jim Watt Aguero, fights of that consequence. Tyson Tubbs in Tokyo. Well, George Navarro speaks a bit like Tyson. I think that's the closest he gets to. He's actually born in Brooklyn, similar to Hector Camacho from Puerto Rico. But he hasn't stopped anybody for 3 years, Navarro, nicknamed Go-Go, and he'll need to. Got to fight the crowd as well as Fenech here. And he's going to clutch for dear life here. I don't know whether that's that weight making that's already showing its strain, which is a bit ridiculous in the opening round. Looks as though he wants to take his chances early on, the challenger, Jim, as though he's not going to go 12 anyway.
Well, he's certainly standing his ground a lot more than I expected him to do. I thought he'd have been flitting around the ring, trying to make Fenech miss and score with little sharp counters. That's usually what he's known for. But he's trying to blast back and match Fenech for power. I don't think that's a good idea.
Well, I hope they stop this clutching early on, and McCanty won't stand for that. He's a very good referee, as you said. Controlling himself well these days, Fenech. He's a little bit wild early on. He's actually stayed the 15 rounds against Jerome Coffey. That was when he was the WBC Super Bantamweight champion. He also held the IBF title. Into round 2 then. And a little bit of anxiety early on there, I thought, certainly by Navaro, knowing really how he wants to contain this machine of a fighter, Fenech. I think the hard background stands him in good stead.
Come on, let's stop the clinching. Let's go, break. Hold it when I say break, understand? Okay.
And I think he means it as well, McCanty there. He's probably handled Navaro in previous fights. His best win was over Jamie Garza, who was the WBC Super Bantamweight champion at one time. And at that time, Garza had 46 wins. So that really was a good result.
Box out of it. All right, break!
He's only been seen on national network in the United States once, the champion now, against Tyrone Downs. He got a good reaction, but although the press weren't mad about him, Jim, they thought he was just another good, strong slugger. I was surprised that he was a bit put down in America.
Yeah, well, I don't really think you can call Fenech a classy performer. He's very exciting, very strong, he has a good chin, and he uses his assets well. But I've never called him a classy performer. Sometimes a little bit crude. I think this is going to be a difficult fight for McCanty to handle. A lot of close quarter stuff, heads banging around. I think McCanty's going to be busy in this one.
All right, come on, break. Let's go.
I can see why they tried to make the comparison, which is a bit ridiculous. He does look like a sawed-off Jack Dempsey, certainly facially, and he's got the style of the old champion too, Fenech. Hit him anywhere, anytime, anyhow. He's holding like anything here, isn't he, Navaro? I mean, I don't blame him clutching for dear life. It's a 9-stone division, this one. And right on the button, as you saw, Navarro only just, and a half a pound inside for Fenech. Oh, so he runs in, he takes punches there, Jim.
Let's go.
See, we had criticism of Barry McGuigan getting caught, and here you've got a world champion getting caught flush on the chin square on.
Yes, he is so committed to attacking. He doesn't really think... His defence is a little bit tighter than it was at one time, but every now and again he gets square-footed and he just comes in with his chin hanging out. And Navaro certainly took advantage of that. He didn't have the power to hurt Fenech, but a lovely punch.
Very excited crowd indeed, isn't it? The World Cup wave at the start, they gave it. And they're really solidly behind this man. He's the best thing that's happened to them in boxing in Australia. Takes a lot of chances though, Jim. We're entitled to be critical of a man who has held 3 world championships. Hangs the chin out a bit. But the booing there, obviously for Navarro, who's trying to spoil his way through this. As I say, that's the nickname, but I think maybe it's the nickname of the second more than the fighter at the moment. He's Georgie the Clutcher. Johnny Lewis then, who's really done a good job with this fellow professionally and personally. And Jim, in this bit of replay?
Yeah, well, as I said, totally committed to attack, now and again leaves his chin hanging. But I think this early he feels he has far more strength, far more power than Navaro, plus the weight problems Navaro's had. So I think Fenech's decided just set the pace, keep the pace going, and they eventually have to grind this man down.
And that was the right hand he was caught with. So coming out for the third then, I remember seeing Fenech in the Los Angeles Olympic Games, and he was very unlucky because he actually won a 3-2 decision over the Yugoslav, and then they had the jury of appeal at that one, which they scrubbed out just as well in Korea, and they reversed the decision to 4-1, and that really was ridiculous. Tony Wilson of Wolverhampton had a similar thing happen to him. And that really soured Fenech now for the amateur game, and he turned pro immediately afterwards.
All right, break, stop. Step back. All right, stop. 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 Okay,
he's got to put an end to this, McCanty, Jim. He's clutching too much now, Navarro.
Yeah, well, he is trying to fire back, but as soon as he finds out his power, he doesn't have enough power to get himself out of trouble. He's starting to grab and hold. But McCanty will be firm with him all right.
Oh, here he is, as you say. That's it. He didn't have to speak to you like that, did he?
No, I don't think so. I actually did what I think Navarro should be doing, make a bit more use of his legs. He's trying to blast back with Fenech here. And there's McCanty in again.
You don't always pick up the referee's instructions as clearly as this. This is quite an education for us now on Fight Night. I mean, he's really caving in around the ribs end, and he's going to pay for this. He keeps telling him, he'll tell the judges to take points away, I would think, if this keeps up. Mind you, the chance of Navaro winning on points, I would say, was 1,000 to 1.
As I was saying earlier, Fenech is a little bit crude at times, but he's very powerful, very strong for a 9-stone fighter. He just keeps the punches coming. He's pushing Navarro around, just keeping him against the ropes. I don't really know quite what to suggest Navarro should be doing now.
I should think look for a gate in the rope somewhere, Jim, and get out. It's the only chance he's got.
Hi, stop! No hitting on a break. Watch that head.
Oh, he's really having to give him the whole repertoire there, McCanty. He doesn't miss much.
holding.
See, McCanty's got the job here of controlling the fight without spoiling the action, and it's not easy because their heads are banging together. There's a lot of holding going on. There's some really untidy stuff.
Okay, stop.
Oh, he's going to take a point off Jim, I'm sure, yes.
I think that was a little final warning.
Final warning, yes. He'll have to make it clearer, I think, to the judges if he wants him to. Then you get a standing ovation at the end of every round for Fenech, no matter how he does. I mean, as I say, that really is home support. Mind you, they gave that sort of support to Joe Bugner, but it didn't help him, Jim.
No, but I think they look upon this guy as a real Aussie, and the whole nation really had got behind him.
Yeah, very much so, wasn't he? He was captain, as you heard earlier, of the Olympic team, and in replay again.
So Navaro has been trying to fire back. That punch was a little bit below the waistline, but you see, he just doesn't have the power to trouble Fenech. Fenech is just quite happy with this action. He's just steaming right through anything there Navaro throws back. See, there's the heads banging together again. I'm surprised there's not been any cuts. And that's Fenech using his strength and power inside, jolting Navaro's head up. It's a hard night's work for Navaro.
Round 4. And now, I wouldn't have thought there's much chance of Navarro changing his style here at all. He knows he's up against it. He's obviously weight weakened, and we can't hide that fact. Held that back well there. Some fighters would have let that one go, and that just may have caused a bit of a problem there for the referee. But he's giving him the mandatory 8.
So that was a good left hook from Navaro, bang on the chin again. It looked as though momentarily it troubled Fenech slightly, but I just don't think he has the power to seriously trouble Fenech. But again, that was a good punch.
He certainly can fight inside the Australian there, can't he? He's a good close-in fighter like that. I'd like to see him against a smart boxer who can pick and punch a bit. That'll be an interesting fight. Oh, little bit of the rough stuff showing there, Jim, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought Fenech warranted a warning about his head there. There was a little bit, see there again, the head coming down too low.
Don't let them around here hear you say that, Jim. We've got to keep that quiet, but you're quite right, of course. It was blatant, but there you go. When you're fighting in the other fellow's backyard, anything goes.
I'm taking a point away from you. 1 point.
Well, what do you know about that? He's taken a point away from Fenech there for the head work, Jim. I was waiting to see him take it away for the other fellow holding. Yeah. And he's actually taken it away from Fenech, and quite rightly.
Yeah, well, a couple of times I've mentioned in this round he's been a little bit blatant with it. I thought he was warning him for punching after the break. But no, it's been the head. And McCanty's showing up. Oh, there he goes.
Well, the warning sort of spurred him on a bit more there, and I admire McCanty to do that. I tell you, you need a bit of guts to take points away from a hero like that. He was well winning the fight, but roughing up too much. Now, can he stop Navaro in the 4th? It looks like he can.
Navaro's eyes are clear, but I think he's just finally been ground down.
Yeah, it's all over by this immense shouting here now. He's some warrior, Fenech, there's no doubt about it. All right, he hangs his chin out, gets hit, but that's the crowd want to see that kind of thing. The hit and run stuff doesn't draw too much at the box office. I wonder what's going through this fellow's mind now, Jim. What do I have to do about that, he's saying. I think he was surprised that the warning went the other way. And he's confirming to the judges there, McCanty, as he collects the points after each round and hands them to the WBC supervisor. He's from Thailand. Jim?
Yeah, well, the pace and the pressure finally getting to Navarro here. So that wasn't a single punch that knocked him over. He just kind of stumbled down to his knees, and it happened another couple of times later on in the round. As I say, the pace and the pressure just finally taking its toll on Navarro. He did well to get himself back up and back into the fight. See, Fenech is still full of fight, plenty of power. But that was a good left hook I was speaking about. See, he had to try and grab for cover. That was a lovely punch from Navarro, but it didn't have the power to trouble Fenech.
Very sprightly looking at the start of the 5th. And he'll need to be here because he really was wilting in the 4th there, Navarro. Taking counts, and the look on his face as if to say, what do I have to do to stop this tank coming in?
Stop holding, George.
Oh, I don't blame him for holding there. He was really under fire. And Fenech smells now that bit of victory, I'm sure. I think they partly Queensberry rules at the gates in Australia, Jim, when Fenech's about, by the look of it.
Don't hit on the brake. Let's go. Nice.
Yeah, well, it just sets the pace. He's a little bit crude, as we said, a little bit rough, a little bit dangerous with his head. But we still have to say he's a pretty good fighter in the bargain. He has a good limited technique, if you know what I mean. He's not classy, but he knows exactly what he wants to do. He sets the pace, very powerful, very strong, with a good chin. And he's certainly far too strong for Navarro here.
Yeah, this can't last with this because he's not firing enough punches back now, the challenger. This is a second defence by Fenech. You see how he gets his head on the inside there, puts it in position. And he's warned him again there, McCanty. I couldn't bear the thought of a disqualification, more or less his hometown. He's born in New South Wales, Fenech. And that's it. He wasn't firing back. McCanty was quite right. He handled that fight really tough all the way through, and then he got it right at the end, Jim. Yeah, no question about that.
I think he picked the right time because it was obvious Navarro had very little to offer in the way of resistance. He was just going to take punches, and I think the referee has really done him a favour getting him out of there. A good performance from Fenech.
Well, now the other featherweight champions of the world that this fellow could fight, but it doesn't seem to be that interested, is Jorge Paez from Mexico, he's IBF, and Esparragoza from Venezuela. Neither of whom really would draw a great deal of money, I wouldn't have thought, in Australia, which is why Fenech does fancy a fight with McGuigan. But since McGuigan's not the world champion at the weight higher than this, super featherweight, he would have to move up. And I think we'll have to wait until Azuma Nelson and Tony Lopez and Brian Mitchell have moved over. But there's no doubt about it, a 3-time world champion, this fella can do the business. And it looks like he's pleased it's all over. Girlfriend kisses for Fenech. I think everybody's in there giving him a kiss and cuddle. Just as well this fight wasn't made by matchmaker Mickey Duff, Jim, he'd be first in there. And the final punches.
Yeah, well, Navarro just nothing else to offer here. The punches, not devastating single punches, but taking their toll. And McCanty moves in and saves the day for Navarro. See, nothing else to offer, just on the ropes taking punches. That's the right time to call it.
And there it is, the WBC representative from Thailand, handing the trophy over. And the sad side always.
Very easily in the end.
Yeah, I just hope that people that are watching ITV realise that Jeff Fenech is a world champion. I fought a very classy boxer today, and to do what I done in 5 rounds, I think it's a great performance. I just hope I get accredited with it. I don't want people to keep saying, because I don't fight out of Australia, I can't win. I mean, I beat people every round. What more can I do? I mean, you can let me go to Alaska and fight Georgie, Navaro and everybody else I fought, and I can promise you I'll beat him.
He's easy to be knocked out, believe me.
Why do you say that? I mean, he's so strong. And he put you down 3 times in the 4th.
He didn't put me down. That was dehydration, man. You know, I figure I'd take an eight stand and count, try to get a second win, and get back up, you know.
But surely you got, I mean, for a featherweight, he's very powerful and very strong.
Ask him if he ever been hurt the way I hurt him.
Well, he did hit me hard. Maybe not as hard. I've been hit hard, and, you know, I give him credit. Like I said, when he first come here, Georgie Navaro was the best fighter I've seen. on tape, and I still won't take a thing away from him. I still think he's a great fighter, and if he fought any out of the featherweight, he'd be here with a belt around his waist tonight. I want to give him all the credit he deserves.
What's next for you?
Well, I'm going to have a rest. I'm going to go away with my girlfriend, just have a little rest and just think about it. I'm not in no rush.
And what about McGuigan?
Well, like I said, I think he's a great champion, but I'm ready to fight anybody. And when the time comes, if he wants to fight me, I'll be in centre ring.
Let me ask you finally about your relationship with children, and particularly with this lad. Can you tell us about Con? I've been watching you, looking after him. First of all, tell us about Con.
Well, Con is mentally retarded at birth, and about 7 years ago I took him under my wing because he couldn't talk or anything. Now just ask Con a question and he'll tell you. I think if anybody watched the interview of the previews this week, Con tipped round 5. Con just needed a bit of confidence and a bit of time, and Con's back, bigger, better than ever, and he'll be everywhere that I go. I can guarantee that. I love him.
Fantastic.
Say thank you, Con.
Thank you.
Thank you, champion.
All right.
Well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So another impressive win by Fenech, underlining his stature as an outstanding world champion. With more international boxing for you after we've taken a short break. It has an explosive finish. Stay with us. Well, the series returns to the domestic scene after Christmas with a British title fight. But this international fight night has come to you from Australia and shown you the power and excitement of the WBC Featherweight champion, Jeff Fenech. The Thunder from Down Under. From Melbourne, goodbye.